Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD. Article 1. Purpose. The purpose of the Convention is to promote, protect and ensure the full enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms by all persons with disabilities. People with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairments which, in interaction with various barriers, may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Article 2. Definitions. This article defines some of the key terms used in the Convention including, communication, language, discrimination on the basis of disability, reasonable accommodation, and universal design. Article 3. General principles. The Convention is based on the principles of respect for dignity, non-discrimination, participation and inclusion, respect for difference, equality of opportunity, accessibility, equality between men and women, and respect for children. Article 4. General obligations. Countries must take a range of measures, with the active involvement of people with disabilities, to ensure and promote the full realization of all human rights and fundamental freedoms for all persons with disabilities without discrimination of any kind. Article 5. Equality and non-discrimination. Everyone is equal before and under the law. Everyone is entitled to the equal protection and benefit of the law without discrimination. Article 8. Awareness raising. Countries must raise awareness of the rights, capabilities and contributions of people with disabilities. Countries must challenge stereotypes and prejudices relating to people with disabilities through campaigning, education, media and awareness-raising programs. Article 9. Accessibility. People with disabilities have the right to access all aspects of society on an equal basis with others, including the physical environment, transportation, information and communications, and other facilities and services provided to the public. Article 10. Right to life. People with disabilities have the right to life. Countries must take all necessary measures to ensure that people with disabilities are able to effectively enjoy this right on an equal basis with others. Article 11. Situations of risk and humanitarian emergencies. Countries must take all necessary measures to ensure the protection and safety of all persons with disabilities in situations of risk, including armed conflict, humanitarian emergencies and natural disasters. Article 12. Equal recognition before the law. People with disabilities have the right to recognition as persons before the law. People with disabilities have legal capacity on an equal basis with others in all aspects of life. Countries must take appropriate measures to provide support to people with disabilities so that they can effectively exercise their legal capacity. Article 13. Access to justice. People with disabilities have the right to effective access to justice on an equal basis with others, including through the provision of appropriate accommodations. Article 14. Liberty and security of person. People with disabilities have the right to liberty and security of person on an equal basis with others. Existence of disability alone cannot be used to justify deprivation of liberty. Article 15. Freedom from torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. People with disabilities have the right to be free from torture and from cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. No one shall be subjected to medical or scientific experimentation without his or her free consent. Article 16. Freedom from exploitation, violence and abuse. People with disabilities have the right to be protected from all forms of exploitation, violence and abuse, including the gender-based aspects within and outside the home. Article 17. Protecting the integrity of the person. Every person with disabilities has a right to respect for his or her physical and mental integrity on an equal basis with others. Article 18. Liberty of movement and nationality. People with disabilities have the right to a nationality. Children with disabilities have the right to a name and to know and be cared for by the parents. Article 19. Living independently and being included in the community. People with disabilities have the right to live independently in the community. Countries must ensure that people with disabilities have the opportunity to choose where they live and with whom they live, and that they are provided with the support necessary to do this. Article 20. Personal mobility. Countries must take effective and appropriate measures to ensure personal mobility for people with disabilities in the manner and time of the choice, and at affordable cost. People with disabilities also have the right to access quality mobility aids, assistive technologies and forms of live assistance and intermediaries. Article 21, Freedom of expression and opinion, and access to information. People with disabilities have the right to express themselves, including the freedom to give and receive information and ideas through all forms of communication, including through accessible formats and technologies, sign languages, braille, augmentative and alternative communication, mass media and all other accessible means of communication. Article 22, Respect for privacy. People with disabilities have the right to privacy. Information about people with disabilities, including personal information and information about their health, should be protected. Article 23, Respect for home and the family. People with disabilities have the right to marry and to found a family. Countries must provide effective and appropriate support to people with disabilities in bringing up children, and provide alternative care to children with disabilities where the immediate family is unable to care for them. Article 25, Health. People with disabilities have the right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health without discrimination. Countries must take all appropriate measures, including measures that are gender-sensitive, to ensure that people with disabilities have access to the same range, quality and standard of health care that is available to everyone else, and which are close to people's own communities. Article 26, Habilitation and Rehabilitation. Countries must take effective and appropriate measures to enable people with disabilities to develop, attain and maintain maximum ability, independence and participation through the provision of habilitation and rehabilitation services and programs. Article 28, Adequate standard of living and social protection. People with disabilities have the right to an adequate standard of living, including food, water, clothing and housing, and to effective social protection, including poverty reduction and public housing programs. Article 30, Participation in cultural life, recreation, leisure and sport. People with disabilities have the right to take part in cultural life on an equal basis with others, including access to cultural materials, performances and services, and to recreational, leisure and sporting activities. Article 31, Statistics and data collection. Countries must collect information about people with disabilities with the active involvement of people with disabilities, so that they can better understand the barriers they experience and make the Convention rights real. Articles 32 to 50. Articles 32 to 50 explain how countries which are bound by the Convention must give it full effect. They also explain the responsibility of countries to report to the United Nations Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities on how they are putting the Convention into effect. Sent by Anton Carpenter. 122 Kings Road, North Wallsend. Tyne and Weir NE 28 9JH.